Are you hearing me?
Yep.
I hear myself twice.
Oh,
Oh, no. Okay. Can you hear me okay now?
yep.
Yep.
Sounds great.
Okay. Hello. All right. So this is my main screen. You can enlarge this one and instead of seeing my pretty face. All right. So let me see if I can do pin. Are you pinning this or should I pin?
I have it pinned, but hold on a second.
All right, I pinned mine.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna remove all pins and just pin your hands.
All right, so I was thinking what to do today for demonstration that, you can learn something new. Maybe you don't know, maybe you do, I don't know. It's a technique that is used quite often with mixed media artists. But as junk journals, how do you incorporate it into your journal? So I decided that there are a lot of papers that are available and they might seem too thin for you, like tissue paper and rice paper and like washi tape paper. All these are really thin and look like flimsy, but they're so pretty. So you would say, how do I put it into my journal and it not ruining it? So I want to show you how you get from this to this. And this will not tear unless you like really, really try, but it will not tear. And then you can put holes in it, you can decorate it, paint it, do whatever you want. Okay, so I went ahead and did a few just to show you. So this is the rice paper that I did in the same technique. And again, it is really, really strong. So how do I get there? And it's actually pretty simple. So let's start with tissue paper. So you can get a decorative.
Can I quickly ask a little question? Sorry, Tamar, I'm so sorry to interrupt, but I got mixed up and I thought you meant rice paper. So can you explain to me the paper that you're actually using?
I have both. I'm going to use both.
Oh,
rice
wonderful.
paper is the art rice paper. You can use the cooking paper. You mean like for cooking?
Yeah, like I would use this for food. Yeah.
Okay. So let me show you rice paper for crafts.
Okay. Thank you.
You can still
different.
use the other one. You can use this technique on any paper that you have.
Wonderful. Thank you. I will.
Even with napkins, you can probably do it. But this is the rice paper for craft. You can see this texture of it here in the back. It's actually a decoupage paper. Okay, but it's made of rice. A lot of companies take the regular white rice paper in white and they print on it. That's how you get all these pretty prints. But you can actually do it in your home if you have regular white paper. You can also print on it, or you can decoupage on top of it. But the idea is Let's take, okay, let's start with this. I'm using a glossy gel heavy body paste with a big brush. And you can wet the brush just a little bit, not too much. And you're just going to spread a clear gel on top of the rice paper or the tissue paper, whichever paper you're doing, like so. And you're going to do it on both sides, front and back. And it's better to do a thinner layer and then let it dry and then add another layer. The more layers you add, the stronger it's going to be. So you turn it over and you're going to do it on the other side. And I just stirred a little bit and it's okay because it's just going to add some character, so it's fine. I tear my paper as much anyway. Now you can dry it with a heat gun, or you can just let it dry if you have time, whatever you prefer. But since we have some time, a little bit, we can do it. Now, another thing that I like to do when I do this technique is, since I'm using this glossy gel on it already, and I might want to do this page double side, and I'm going to add another layer. You can just go ahead and add elements to it, to the other side. So die cuts, pieces of paper, whatever you have laying around. Now this is sticky a little bit, it'll stick. You can go ahead and add whatever elements you want. You can even use little flowers if you want on it. It's perfectly okay to do that as well. Oh, here's a nice die cut. Oh, you know what? Let's add some ribbon. Let's see. Lace or ribbon. I need my scissors. Usually I tear it off. Okay. I did it with my teeth. You're not supposed to do it with your teeth, but I wouldn't add too much or too, because it's still a thin paper, but I just want to show you that it's possible. And then you just add another coat of the gel. And you seal the elements in.
Tamar, is there something that can be substituted for gel paste in this
For
project?
what? For the gel? For the
Yeah.
glossy gel?
Yeah.
Yes, you can substitute with mixed media glue, like this.
Uh-huh.
You can do decoupage. I just personally don't like decoupage because it yellows and it ends up being sticky, and it's not as thick.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Any medium that dries clear but gives you body will be good. Then you can just, okay, it's still wet, but I would dry it, maybe dry it a little bit. You can add glitter, you can add paint, you can add little sayings. But again, I wouldn't make it too heavy yet because it's still gonna be a thin paper and you only have a couple of layers on. But you can build layers. So let's just try to dry it a little bit more. It's still wet. But once it dries really heavy. So this one has 2 coats on it. This only have 1 coat right now on one side and 2 coats on the other side. It's not dry yet. But, so you do it on a silicone mat, because if you do it on regular, glass or paper, obviously you will not be able to peel it off. But if you do it on a silicone mat, you can actually peel it off. I'm gonna do this one, another coat. Probably not going to use this part. It's too torn. Could be, and the reason it really is too torn is because we're doing it live and I'm not letting it dry properly. If you let it dry properly, you should get the whole entire thing without any tears. So I'm going to probably leave this aside. I'm going to dry it out a little bit more so that we can move on to the rice paper. And the idea is the same in both. And I want to show you let's see. I don't know if I have the original one from this. Oh, another thing for the silicone mat, that it's heat resistant. So you don't have to be afraid to use your heat gun on the silicone mat. Okay, so this is the original rice paper that I used before I covered it. And this is what it looks like when I covered it with a gel mat. What happens is also it becomes more transparent, which is kind of fun. But it maintains the integrity of the paper. I'm going to put it aside. Maybe I'll move it over to another mat to let it dry while I work on the other one. It's not dry yet. All right. I'm just going to work on the one that I made. How about that? But you understand the principle? Let it dry, because I mean, it's not dry, so it will tear because it's wet, but it has to dry. All right, I'm gonna remove it because we only have just about a half hour, so no time here. Okay. Forgot to put my gloves on. Oh.
Is gel paste the same as gel medium?
Yes,
Okay, cool. Thank you.
yes. All right. So I'm going to do, what I want to do now is do a collage and then seal it with a glossy gel. So now I just showed you very simple thing with adding a few elements without thinking, but you can actually really build a nice page. So let's take, I prepared one more. Where's my other one? Here. Here. Okay, here. So here's a rice paper, and you can do the same on regular tissue paper. You know what? Let's do it on tissue paper again. Because this is one color. So maybe you'll be able to see it better here. Okay. So let's take some elements that are, you know, from rice paper. Again, you can do rice paper, tissue paper, or napkin. And we're going to decoupage these over. I'm just going to tear some elements out. Maybe this one. I have it open. So you want to put a little bit on the bottom and then put this on top and seal. You want to put on the bottom, it's like glue. Put this on the top and seal. Now go over it a few times so that these two pieces will adhere together and they become one. Okay, let's see what else we have here that we can add. How about we'll add the washi tape? I'm not going to even cut it. I'm just putting it like this, just so to give you the technique. So we're going to glue it and put it on top. Okay. All right. Same thing. We're going to put the gel medium on it. Will happen, you know, even if the paper is really crinkled, you see how it gets a little bit more straight? That's because the medium is a little wet. So it actually gets absorbed by the paper and it changes the structure of it. So the same idea here is you can add elements, then you turn it over and you do the same thing on the other side because you do want it on both sides, okay? Now you can decide how strong you want it to be. The more layers you add, the stronger the paper will be. So usually I will go for 3 layers on each side. So that will be a total of 6. But you see, I did not load too much on it. I just put a layer and I'm gonna let it dry, and then you add another layer and you let it dry. This actually is coming out a little easier. Okay. So here's another idea for you. There are two other materials that you can do this with that are more readily available, but I'm not a big fan, but you can still do it. Is one, you can dilute glue with water. Okay, and then you can do so if you use the art glitter glue that dries transparent, but it's very thick consistency. You can still take it and dilute it with water and then use it. And I want to show you how. And this is my art glitter glue. And I'll add it here. I'll add some water here. I'm going to take the other side of it. And I'm going to water this down a little bit. And then put the glue on. Now what's going to happen is it's going to hold the paper together and it's going to make it stronger, but not as much as the gel. But it's still a way that you can do it. And we'll see the difference. You see how this one didn't flatten it? It's still crinkled. All right, now we can add something else to it. Let's see. Here, just do a little one. So you're basically decoupaging tissue paper or rice paper or transparent paper over another transparent paper. The same way you would do it on regular paper, but except this one is thinner. Okay, so this one is still not 100% dry, but you get the idea. So now, let me see if I can turn it over. See, it's a little drier, so now it turned over easier. So this is only with 2 layers on, okay? And it's already strong. I would definitely recommend to do more. But you can see how you can already take this, even with 2 layers, and fold it and use it. All right, so I'm not going to add any more because we're short on time, but let's take this. And this is the one with the glue, just one side. It's already stronger. I'm going to take this out. I don't want it right now. I'm going to put it here just to dry a little bit more. So let's go to the one we already did, which is this. And see what you can do with the pages after you finish making them strong. First thing that I want to do is cut all the edges. I don't really need the edges. Now, if you want to paint it, you can also paint it. You can use any kind of paint you want. It's fun to try maybe alcohol inks, for example, because it'll stain it. It'll look like something spilled on it or something. So let's try little alcohol inks. Now what happens is, because the paper is sealed, there's nothing to absorb the paint. It'll stay on the surface. Okay? So you can do all sorts of things with it. You can wet it. You can move it around. You can squish it. You can do whatever you want. If you don't like it and it's too much, you can remove it. Now, if you use alcohol inks, it has stain. It stains, it'll stay. But you can still do interesting things with it. The same with inks. You can take ink. Where's my ink pad? If you take permanent ink, it'll permanently ink it. It's not going to go away anywhere. So you can ink the edges. If you use distress, obviously it will come off, because distress does come off. It's not permanent. But if you use regular ink or pigment ink, it will stay. Now, supposedly you don't like the color and you want to make it more vintagey. I usually use vintage photo to make it more vintage. So you can take that and actually dye it like that. You can do that and give it a little bit more staining. So you can do the same thing to this as you would regular paper, except this with the cover will not absorb the dyes as much. So you're not going to get the same reaction as you would if you painted over regular paper. Another fun thing to do with these is do rub-ons. You have rub-ons. Yes, I have this one. Rub-ons will stay really nice. So supposedly you want to add something here. So rub-on will stay nice on it. So all these elements, because they're very, very thin, will look transparent, and it gives you a different effect than you do with regular paper. Okay, what else can we do? Let me see, what else do I have here? Trying to think. I have a lot of different things. Oh, how about fibers? I'm just digging in my general box here with all sorts of stuff. But we'll add some fibers here and make it interesting. So we can do that. Put some glue on top, on the bottom. I forgot what this thing called. Cis something. These are like natural elements. Anybody remembers what this thing called? Forgot. I should look in the bag.
Talking about sisal?
What?
Sisal?
Yes, yes. Here we go.
Sisal.
You get old, you don't remember anything. You have to look everything up.
Can I ask for drying? Is it okay to like put a heat gun to it, or that just make it like bubbly or something?
Right, let me try to make it louder because I cannot hear.
It's probably where my speaker is. Is that a little better?
No, it's me. It's my phone. Okay, say it again.
So to help the layers dry, are you able to use a heat gun or anything to speed the drying, or would that make it like bubble or anything?
No, you can definitely use heat gun. It does not bubble.
And would it work with parchment paper, or is it too slick for it to stick together?
You can use parchment paper with it. Yep.
Very cool.
Each paper reacts differently, but the gel medium will adhere to almost everything.
And then it looks like you had a quick question about the silicone mat. Is it the same kind of silicone mat that you can bake with?
That you can what?
Bake with.
Bake with?
Or
Yeah,
baking.
because it's heat resistant. Actually, this is a kitchen silicone mat that I got on Amazon. Kind of cheap because I use them a lot. And the only thing I don't like about silicone mat is that I have dogs, and a lot of times, you know, if I leave it out, it'll get dog hair on it. It sort of like attracts everything. So after you finish, wash it and put it in a plastic bag so that it doesn't get dirty. Because it gets dirty very easy, but it's really easy to use, and then you can peel the glue right off of it. See, look, the glue peels right off of it. This actually is called skin. And this schmaltz I sometimes use in my work to just add more texture. I take it, I paint it, then I put it back into artwork. See, it's called skin. So you can add fibers like that as well. So you can build whatever you want, as long as it's not too heavy. I wouldn't put heavy metals on it or anything like that. That I wouldn't do. So how do you take this and put it onto your journal? Basically the same way. So I'm just going to take this a minute and put it on the side. It'll dry in a second, but I want to show you another technique real quick. And that is using vellum. Vellum is really strong in the market right now. So here's a pack of leftover vellum that I have from Ciao Bella, and they come in 6x6 packs, and it has little elements that you can cut and add. And the paper is semi-transparent. It's not 100% transparent, but it's semi-transparent. And you would add these to, you can add this to regular paper or your transparent paper as much as you want. But you can also add these things to acetate. So I want to show you what you can do with acetate, because acetate is another clear paper that I like using. So let's take a sheet of acetate. And you can do tags from it, or you can just use it as is for a page. Not fun? So let's take a little bear. Okay. And with this, you can actually just use mixed media glue or regular glue, but I'm just gonna go ahead and I have the jar open already. Just add it here. This is fun. And let's try rice paper. So I have this little elements here. I'm just trying different things. And basically they're all these materials that are see-through and will give my fingers are sticky, sorry. I usually wear gloves. I actually have the gloves ready right there. I just forgot to put them on. Okay. And let's take this little thing here. Do this one. Maybe we'll do a few flowers too. You can always, just to remind you, you can always do the same thing on regular paper. I'm doing it on acetate now. And let's layer this on top. And this is fun because you start layering them, will be like one on top of the other. Kind of an interesting fun effect. So what I did with these also earlier is I've done that ahead of time because this is something that you can do but takes a while to dry. So you can take clear resin. You cut these. You know the 2-part resin, how to use them? I can't hear anybody. You guys can hear me at all?
Yeah, everybody's just into it. But what kind of gel medium are you using? Nicole wants to know. Okay.
Temperia Mixed Media Art Glossy Gel. Everybody.
Thank you. Perfect. About the resin, I usually only use UV resin and I don't even do that very much.
Yeah.
But so I'm interested in seeing what you're doing.
Okay, so this is just now became like really flimsy. And I wouldn't want to put it just like that in my art journal. So I use 2-part resin. This is really good because it dries very clear. It's art resin. 2 parts. You mix equal parts inside a cup. And I'll show it to you real quick. I eyeball it usually. But if you have a measuring cup, you can use a measuring cup. Just be careful whenever you're using resin. I would recommend to use gloves, and don't be like me with that one. So I'm mixing 2 parts together really well. And it will become a little bit opaque, just a little bit, but it'll turn back clear in a second. And then you're gonna see bubbles in it. That's also okay because it's releasing air from the mixer, from mixing it together. So give it about a minute or 2, even 3, mix it really well. And then I put this over a silicone again. I'm using right now, this is the back side of molds that I have, silicone molds. But whenever you're using these things, always put it over something silicone. Otherwise, you'll not be able to remove it from the surface. And definitely, definitely, definitely cover your workspace, your table, and make sure you have, I don't know, something to put the bottles back on so that you're not going to just put it on your table, because then it'll stain. Whatever gets there, you'll never be able to take out. So here, you apply a thin coat. You can wait a little bit. You can heat it up a little bit so that the air bubbles will come out. I don't know why this keeps moving on me. It should not. So resin takes 24 hours to dry. The clear one will take 24 hours to dry. You can always go back after you did it and wait a little bit and cover it again. See that you have all the areas covered. After it's like semi-dry, you can even take it and mold it if you want. You know, you can actually bend it and make shapes from it. If you want to put it on something that, you know, like cover, that's a good way. I went ahead and I did a few ahead of time. And I did the washi also. But yeah, so this is just like a silicone mold, and I put it on the back. So here I did a whole bunch, and I didn't do anything to it. I just put the resin, and you see like it has leftovers on the side. And now you can just go ahead and cut this. And you take emery board and you can remove the rough edges, because the resin will give you very, very sharp areas and you don't want to cut yourself. So just go over it with an emery board. Here you see like I got all these glued together. But what happened is now all these elements that you covered with resin, even though they're very, very thin, it already looks like plastic embellishments, like store-bought, but it's actually paper covered with resin. So it's kind of fun, you know, it's kind of cool to use that. Another thing that it's fun to use this for, if you want to do embellishment for like dangles and things, like the back, like charms. You can use that to make charms. So here you have you can make a whole bunch. You can put them together and bind them together with ribbon, or you can just glue them over to the page like that and make something fun with it. So let's see what we can come up with here. Oh,
What
I
a cool thing. I love
Mhm.
that. I said, what a
What?
cool thing. I love this.
The resin with the resin?
Yeah. So cool.
Yeah. It is, you
Nicole-
know, you think what you're doing is you're changing the structure of different elements, so you'll get more, you know, more use. Like this is die cuts that I did. Okay, the gold die cuts, I do flowers and I had leftovers. Like, I had some leftover resin in my cup. I'm like, let me throw some in there. Look at this,
Cool idea. Yeah,
you know?
that's really cool.
Yeah, and you can mold it too.
Oh, wow.
You know?
Awesome.
And you can, if you want to put holes in, punch holes in it, it's gonna hold because now it's plastic. It's not paper anymore,
That's pretty cool.
you know? So you can
Never
put
thought of
in,
that.
put a
Well,
brad in, do like a lock. You just change the whole structure of this element.
so you have a couple questions. Does the resin just air dry?
Yes, the
Okay,
resin air dries.
24 hours though, right?
Yes. This particular brand, yes. Most clear resins will take 24 hours. I think that Alumilite makes a clear resin that dries in 2 hours.
Oh.
But I don't like how it dries that much. It's not as clear. UV light, you can put resin and dry it right away. It works.
Mm-hmm.
So really, whatever clear resin you choose to do, it will dry. You can use the clear gel that you do for nails. You can use nail polish, but nail polish will not do it as strong either. But yeah, this is a washi tape.
That's cool.
So now if you're doing a project and you want something that, you know, more plasticky or stronger, like
All
a
right,
buckle,
yeah.
let's want to create buckles for your journal.
Mm-hmm.
That's a
Yeah.
good way to do it.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
Jeanette is asking, do you need ventilation when you use resin?
You do, but I ignore it.
I also ignore that, but yes, you need ventilation.
You do.
Oh, sorry, that was Nikki.
If if I go on a session that I really do a lot of it, I will do it outside in my yard. But I will not leave it outside because every little speck of dust that gets on the resin will stay there.
Yeah.
So what I do is I leave it in a drawer like this. I'll put everything, I'll put it in a drawer and I'll put the drawer back in, you know, in.
Oh,
So
yeah, a good idea.
yeah, so that's what I do.
That's to dry, right?
That's to dry.
Okay.
Yes,
Perfect. It says yes, use ventilation.
correct. Yeah. All right.
I noticed UV resin, it's not as bad, but definitely like other ones, if you're sensitive to smell at all, I cannot use the 2-part without a ton of air. or I'll let them know.
Yeah, I usually use UV and not for very long at all.
Yeah, it all really depends on the brand, what you're using, and how long you're using it for.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think I gave you quite a bit of ideas. I was gonna paint something on and put it together, but
You can,
you
Um,
basically just
you're fine.
you basically just oh, how do I say, how do I want to say it? You attach these pages to your junk journal the same way you would regular paper. You can punch holes in it now. You can staple it now. You can do whatever you want with it. So, but you know, experiment with transparency. I think it's a lot of fun.
Seems really fun.
You know, let's see what happened with the other thing we did. How dry is it now? It's okay. It's pretty dry. It's still a little damp.
I love how that's shiny.
Yeah, my glossy gel is glossy. You can get matte gel that is not glossy.
Yeah, I love glossy
Okay.
project.
Yeah.
Seems like.
But yeah,
So- Oh, go ahead.
you can put a bunch together. Now, if you want to tear it off, you can definitely tear it. But you're gonna have to go to like the corner and tear it off. It's kind of fun, but it's at least a little bit more sturdy
Yeah.
that it's not going to get destroyed. And another fun thing that you can do is you can take your pashka and you can write things on it. You know, and then after it dries, you know, so you can write things. I don't know if you can see what I wrote. I wrote love. So you can paint on it, write on it, and then you can seal it again with the glossy gel. It's another thing that, you know, you can do. But it has to be permanent markers. It cannot be water soluble. It cannot be, you know, if you're doing paints, I would use acrylic, not watercolor, because you don't have any tooth to this. It's just now, once it's sealed, the paper does not absorb it. Everything goes on the surface now. But it'll be kind of fun. You know, we can take this and build a little buckle.
Oh, that's really cute.
Yeah. All right. Well, how are we doing on time? We're at the
11:57.
okay.
And uh also Karen said if you needed a little bit extra time, you could take it.
I know, but I have to go because I have a dinner actually at my daughter's house.
Not a problem. Not a problem at all.
Well, we can remove this and leave you my pretty face with the other. Okay.
That was so nice. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Yeah, I love all the different things that people do. That's like they're small things, but so very cool, you
Yeah.
know, to add to your junk journal.
Yeah.
Super
Just
cool.
looking for more technique. This was really more like about a technique than showing you a project or
Right.
you know, it's just to give you something else that you can, it will open your mind to the possibility of,
Yeah.
because I know that I seen a lot of people who doing junk journaling, like how do you use tissue paper? Like they like to use pattern paper from Simplicity or something. You know, a lot of times you'll get a paper that's a little, you know, it's really pretty, but it's flimsy and, you know, you
Yes.
don't exactly know how to do it. So I wanted, you know, you can expand on that. You can take the transparent paper and add it to a regular paper if you want.
Mhm.
So that will also give you, you don't have to use it transparent, just that. You can always, it's fantastic to use decoupage on covers. I like that. You can do it on tags. Like, it doesn't have to be a whole transparent page. You can just do a tag or pocket or just something else, some other element. So I like incorporating different textures and things to my albums. I think it makes a fun result.
I agree. I think that, I know for me, all of my stuff ends up looking just about the same. So it's really nice to, be able to have other, other skills to develop, you know what I mean? Be exposed to different skills and go, oh, yeah, I saw her do that before. Let me
Yeah.
try it.
And also, if you're using the gel medium as a glue, that thing will make anything stick. So it doesn't matter what you put on it, it'll stay. Whether it's fabrics or lace or even metal, you put metal on it, it'll stay. It's not going anywhere.
That's good to know. I've done something very similar to that. But with just like I don't know what you would call it, like a watered down glue,
Mm-hmm.
which is fine, but it can come apart if you have things like ribbon and stuff like that. But I'm gonna try it with the gel medium.
Yeah.
Because I like to make
Yeah.
I like to make master boards.
Right.
Think that would be cool.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I would definitely recommend having a gel medium in your stash, and make sure you seal the jar, because this thing will dry if there's just a little bit there. So, put cellophane inside on it or something. Make sure it stays dry.
Okay.
Stay tight so it will not dry.
Gotcha.
All right. Well, I hope.
Well, thank you so much.
You're
I
very
learned so much from you.
welcome. You're
And
welcome, everyone.
got some thank yous in the chat there. Okay, and so I'm going to stop recording. And then when Karen is ready,
I'm going to go wash my hands because they're sticky.
all right.
All right. Well, it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much.